Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Rafa Ibrahim. My study ID is 23018126, and I'm going to talk about cultural around country between China and Indonesia. I'm going to talk about conversation between China and Indonesia in a meeting. In China, introduction and relationship building in international conversation often focus on building relationship or works, negotiation and proposal, detailed discussion of business proposal, job and condition, problem and feedback. What do they discuss? They discuss about negotiation and proposal, detailed discussion of business proposal, job and condition. Who's discuss? People in China in a meeting. Where they meeting? In a meeting room or restaurant. When they meeting? When they need to meeting or there are problem with their company. How the meeting? Saving face, maintaining dignity is vital. Sensitive issue are handled delicately to avoid embarrassment or lost face. In Indonesia, greeting and small talk is customary to start with pleasantries and small talk which help being support. This might include asking about health, family, or recent activity. What they discuss, give the diverse relationship landscape, conversation about religious practice. Upcoming festival and related activities are typical. Who's discuss? People in Indonesia. When they meeting, where they meeting, in a room meeting or cafe and can be fancy restaurant. When they meeting, in the working time or in the office or when they boss order to. How the meeting in Indonesian often enjoy discussing culinary experiences and travel plans, sharing recommendations for restaurant and tourist destination.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nafia Salsabila with students ID 23018118. So now I will tell you about what is the differences between Chinese and Indonesian. The first one aspect is conversation in different contexts. During lunchtime in China, basically the menu is simple, consisting noodles, rice, meat, and vegetables. And most people eat at school or company or maybe canteens, or maybe they can order takeout or bring their own lunchbox from home. But in Indonesia, the people, when they have lunch, they must see rice and they eat with their hands, which is they don't use any spoon or fork, and then they sit on the floor, or we can say lesehan, and then mostly people in Indonesia, when they eat, they raising their legs. I know it sounds not, it sounds impolite, but it's their way to enjoy the meal. And then in Indonesia, when you eat, you must use sambal, eat with sambal, which is everyday Indonesian people eat with sambal. And what is the differences between lunchtime in Indonesia and China? The first one is menu and variety. Chinese lunch are simple, while Indonesian lunch features a variety of dishes centered around rice. The second is eating habits. In Chinese, eat quickly and take a nap, while in Indonesians enjoy meal leisurely, eating with hands and sitting on the floor.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Puput Arini and I'm from Group Cina, and my student number is 23018039, and today I want to share about different culture in China and Indonesia. I want to explain you what, where, how about culture visiting someone sick in China and Indonesia. First is what? In China and Indonesia, visiting someone sick signifies care, compassion, and solidarity. It was to express empathy and support for the person who is unwell and their family. Second one is where? In China, visiting the sick often take place in hospital, especially if the illness is served or at the person home. It might also occur in communal space like temple or community centers. And when visiting someone sick in China and Indonesia typically occurs promptly after learning about the illness. And who? In China, visiting someone sick usually a collective effort involving family members, close friends, and sometimes colleagues or neighbors. In China, there are many parents or family members following this duty. And how? In China, manner in which visiting the sick is conducted can vary between China and Indonesia. In China, visitors might bring gifts such as a flower, fruit, and traditional tonic. In Indonesia, similar custom of bring gift and appraising well wise and observed, often complemented by offering prayers or reciting religious verse.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Afiza Abuzar. My student ID is 22018002. I will explain you about conversation in different contexts. This aspect tell about asking a bus driver to stop. In China, the use of stop button and minimal verbal communication reflect a more systematic and impersonal approach. In contrast, in Sumatra Barat or Indonesia, the direct verbal request to the bus driver demonstrates a more personal and community-oriented interaction. Let me analyze this aspect. The first one is who. In Indonesia, passenger and public transportation, including student, worker, and tourists. In China, passenger using public transportation, including commuters and traveler. The next, what? In Indonesia, requesting the bus driver to stop at a specific location. In China, asking the bus driver to stop at a bus stop. The next, when? In Indonesia, when nearing their destination or a noun bus stop. In China, approaching their intended stop. The next, where? In Indonesia, on public bus, minibus, or other forms of public transportation. In China, on public bus, in urban and rural areas. And the last, why? In Indonesia, to get off at their desired destination. In China, to disembark at their specific stop. And how? In Indonesia, passengers typically call out to the driver or tap a bell if available. The phrase commonly used, "Bang, kiri, left brother." In China, passengers generally press a stop button installed in the bus. If necessary, they might say "xia shi," which means get off. That's all.
Hello everyone, my name is Grisma Yuandini and my student number is 22018041 and I'm from Group China. I'm so glad to share you about our final project about the differences between Indonesian cultural with another country in some of aspect. The differences between how the showing anger in Indonesia and in China. While both cultures avoid direct confrontation, Chinese society places a stronger emphasis on maintaining harmony and peace, leading to more restrained public displays of anger compared to Sumatra Barat, where indirect expression might still involve raised voice in certain contexts. Let's see the analysis of W5H+. The context Wu, showing anger usually doing by individuals in personal, family, or community setting. In context what? Indonesian and Chinese is expressing anger verbally or non-verbally. In context when? Usually they are showing anger when during conflict, misunderstanding, and frustrating about the situation. And context where? In Indonesian and in China have the same, in homes, public place, or workplace. And in context why? It seems to express frustration, dissatisfaction, and displeasure. And how they are expressing their showing anger. In Indonesian, people often avoid direct confrontation. Anger may be expressed indirectly through body language, such as avoiding eye contact or becoming silent. In more intense situations, raised voice or direct verbal expression might occur, but is generally considered impolite to show anger in front of public. And in China, similar to Sumatra Barat, direct confrontation is often avoided. Anger may be expressed subtly through nonverbal cues like a stern look or silence. In more severe cases, verbal expression may occur, but maintaining face or reputation is crucial, so public display of anger are usually restrained.
So the second aspect is the conduct of social events such as. So the first one I will explain to you is about eating out. In Chinese, the key aspect of dining in Chinese restaurant usually menu, ordering, dining etiquette, non-Chinese cuisine. Meanwhile, in Indonesian, the key aspect of dining there is eating with hands, rice and condiments, warm culture, and then respectful custom, halal dietary practice, and also social knowledge and community. And what is the difference between two of these? So the differences between China and Indonesia, while they have eating out, the first one is menu and variety. Chinese restaurants have extensive menus, while Indonesian restaurants focus on rice and condiments. Second one, ordering and etiquette. In Chinese, ordering can be challenging without English or pictures, while Indonesian often eat with hands and choose condiments at warung. The third one is dining etiquette. In Chinese, dining etiquette emphasizes refilling others' glasses and warm gear, while in Indonesian, etiquette emphasizes respecting local custom. The fourth is food culture. In Chinese, food culture emphasizes family and community, while in Indonesian, food emphasizes community and pride. The fifth one is halal dietary practice. In Indonesia, it's predominantly Muslims and follows halal practice, while in China has diverse regional cuisines without emphasis on halal. So here's a detailed comparison using the specific aspect like what, where, when, who, and how to explore the explanation from eating out between China and Indonesia. So the first one is what. An Indonesian culture menus are typically simpler, focusing on rice and condiment. They reflect the diverse regional specialties but are not as extensive as Chinese menus. While in Chinese culture, menus are vast and include hundreds of items from different Chinese cuisines, often with picture and English name to help non-Chinese speakers. Where in Indonesian culture, menus are found in warung, while in Chinese culture, menus are extensive, typical in both small eateries and large formal restaurants. When Indonesian culture, menus are presented at all meals, especially at lunch and dinner, while in Chinese culture, menus are available throughout the day with a significant emphasis during lunch and dinner. Who? In Indonesian culture, the variety and simplicity of menus cater to locals and tourists alike, with many choosing from display items, while in Chinese culture, the extensive menus cater to a broad audience, including locals, tourists, and business people. How? In Indonesian culture, menus often include staple dishes like nasi goreng and satay, with options to customize with various condiments, while in Chinese culture, the menus are often divided into sections based on cooking methods, ingredients, and regions, providing a comprehensive selection of dishes.
Next, I will explain you about the conduct of social events. This aspect tells about weddings. In Chinese, weddings often combine traditional costumes with modern elements, focusing on family respect and social status, with elaborate ceremonies and significant emphasis on the color red. Minangkabau weddings in Sumatra Barat are deeply rooted in local and Islamic tradition, emphasizing community participation and cultural rituals. Let me analyze this aspect. The first is who. In Indonesia, the bride, groom, families, friends, and community members. In China, the bride, grooms, families, friends, and sometimes business associates. The next one. In Indonesia, traditional Minangkabau weddings with cultural rituals and custom. In China, traditional Chinese wedding with various custom and modern practice. And the next one. In Indonesia, typically planned well in advance, often during weekends or auspicious dates. In China, often a date chosen based on the lunar calendar for good fortune. And the next is where. In Indonesia, at the bride's home, a community hall, or a special wedding venue. In China, at hotel, restaurant, or specially decorated venue. The next why. In Indonesia, to celebrate the union of two individuals and their family. In China, to formalize the marriage and celebrate with family and friends. And the last how. In Indonesia includes steps like malam bainai, mencapai marapulai, and a main wedding reception with traditional dance, music, and a feast. In China, includes a tea ceremony, a grand banquet, and various forms of entertainment. Red is a prominent color. That's all.
Well, everyone, we move to the next aspect. It's about funeral. How the differences between the funeral in Indonesia and in China? The main differences lie in the religious and cultural rituals. In China, the custom can vary significantly based on the predominant religion and include extended periods of mourning and specific rituals like burning incense. In Sumatra Barat, funerals are quicker and follow Islamic rites closely, with an emphasis on community support and prayer. And who's usually doing this practice is in Indonesia and in China, they are used this ritual usually by family members, relatives, friends, and community members. And context what Indonesian and China is traditional funeral ceremonies with specific rituals and customs. And when they are usually doing this funeral in Indonesia and China is they have typically within a few days after death following local customs and religious practice, but in China, often within a few days to week after death, following local custom and religious practice. And where they are usually doing this funeral in Indonesian at the family home, a mosque or a cemetery, but in China at the family home, a funeral, a temple or a cemetery. And why Indonesians to honor the deceased over prayer and provide a proper farewell. In China to honor the deceased over prayers and ensure a peaceful afterlife. And how they are doing the funeral in Indonesia, funerals are deeply rooted in Islamic tradition. The body is washed, shrouded, and a prayer we call the Salat al-Janazah is held. The community often comes together to offer condolences and support the grieving family. Burial is usually done quickly in accordance with Islamic practice. But in China, funeral may follow Buddhist, Taoist, or local customs. Ritual can include burning incense, offering food, and reciting prayers. The body is often placed in a casket and may be kept at home for several days before burial or cremation. White is the traditional color of mourning, and family members may wear white clothing or armbands.
And now I'm gonna talk about when people gathering in China and Indonesia. When people gather in China, the topic of conversation can vary widely depending on the context and the participant. What they do talk. Their conversation about family members such as children, parents, and relatives are very common. Who's discussed? People gathered in China. When that happens, when some people in China do a gathering with their friend or family or coworker. Where it happen? Someone's house or a cafe or restaurant. How that happen? Conversation about family members such as children, parents, and relatives are very common. Work-related topics include job, responsibility, food is central part in Chinese culture, so the discussion about favorite dishes, recipes. In Indonesia, Indonesian gatherings are characterized by their warm hospitality and strong sense of community what they family. Central in Indonesian culture, gathering often include extended family members, include shared meal, conversation, and sometimes religious observance. What they do, family is central in Indonesian culture, gathering often include extended family members and include shared meal, conversation, and sometimes religious observance. Whose Indonesia people with their family or friend or coworker. In their gathering, when they have free time and when holiday time, they gather. Where? Some place in someone's house or cafe, mostly in cafe because Indonesia like hang out in cafe. How they gather? Food is central element in most Indonesian gathering with dishes like nasi goreng, satay, sweet ceremony serve. The spirit of togetherness and mutual support is a hallmark of Indonesian social life.
Celebrating New Year's in Indonesia and China. Number one is what? Chinese New Year. In Chinese culture, Chinese New Year is an important celebration that marks the beginning of New Year according to lunar calendar. It's time together with family, cleanse the house of negative energy, and celebrate with ancient tradition that symbolize good luck and prosperity. In Indonesia, New Year in Indonesia is usually celebrated with parties and fireworks. On New Year's Eve, a moment to gather with family and friends, celebrating the beginning of the New Year's in Georgian calendar. Number two is where. Chinese New Year celebration is usually occur in family house, temples, and in public place of Chinese community. in Indonesia, such as Jakarta, Surabaya, and Medan. In Indonesia, New Year's celebration in Indonesia occur throughout the country in home, in city centers, on the beach where people gather to welcome the New Year. Number 3 is when. Chinese New Year's falls on a different date each year according to the lunar calendar, usually between January and February. And Indonesian New Year is celebrated on January 1st every year, following the Georgian calendar. Number 4 is who. Chinese New Year celebrations involve Chinese family and communities in Indonesia, as well as throughout the world. All family members, from young to old, participate in this tradition. And in Indonesian New Year is celebrated by a level of society in Indonesia, regardless of background of religion. Is a festival event where everyone gathers to celebrate the start of the new year together. How? Chinese New Year celebration are displayed with typical decorations such as red lanterns, red packets, and dragon and lion performance. Special food tradition are also an ingredient part of this celebration. In Indonesia, celebration in Indonesia are often marked by fireworks and music concert and other entertainment events. People also wear festival attire to participate in various social activities.
Next, I will explain you about kinds and use of gesture. This aspect tell about handshake. Chinese handshake are typically brief and gentle with less emphasis on accompanying gestures. In Sumatera Barat or Indonesia, a handshake often includes additional gesture to show sincerity and respect, reflecting a more expensive greeting style. Let me analyze about this aspect. The first is who. In Indonesia, individual meeting in social, business, or formal context. In China, people in business, formal, or social context. The next, what? In Indonesia, handshake as a form of greeting and respect. In China, handshake as a greeting and sign of respect. The next, when? In Indonesia, you plan a meeting and parting during introduction or after agreements. In China, during introduction, meeting, and farewell. And the next, where? In Indonesia, in social gathering, business meeting, and formal events. In China, in office, conferences, and social events. And the next, why? In Indonesia, to show respect, friendliness, and acknowledgement. In China, to show respect and establish rapport. And the last, how? In Indonesia, a handshake might be accompanied by a slight bow and touch the heart afterward. Handshakes are often gentle. In China, handshakes tend to be brief and light. Eye contact is met but not too intense. That's all.
Well, everyone, we move to the next aspect about the nodding. It's a part of kind and use of gesture. The differences between the nodding in China and Indonesia. While both cultures use nodding similarly, China's nodding tends to be more subtle and accompanied by minimal eye contact to show humility. In Sumatera Barat or Indonesia, nodding is often combined with more expressive nonverbal cues like smiling and maintaining eye contact. But who usually doing nodding in Indonesia and China have a similarly individual in various social, business, or formal setting. And what Indonesia and China nodding as a form or acknowledgement or agreement. And when they are doing nodding during conversation, meeting, and presentation. for context where Indonesia and China have similarly in homes, office, school, and public place. And why they are doing nodding, they have similar reason to show understanding, agreement, or attentiveness. How they are doing this? In Indonesia, nodding is often subtle and combined with other nonverbal cues such as smiling or maintaining eye contact. It is a polite way to show active listening or agreement without interrupting the speaker. But in China, nodding is also subtle and usually accompanied by a slight smile or minimal eye contact. It is a respectful gesture to indicate agreement or that one is paying attention. In formal setting, nodding can be a way to show deference or acknowledgement without speaking.
In Chinese culture, eye contact is crucial for conveying respect, activeness, and sincerity, especially in formal setting. In Indonesia culture, while value direct eye contact can sometimes be seen as confrontational, particularly with elders or authority figures, though this varies in formal setting. Number 2 is where. Eye contact is expected in various Chinese settings, from business meeting to daily interaction. In Indonesia, important varies by context, more singular formal situation like business meeting, but more related in casual meeting. Number 3 is when. In China and Indonesia, the significance of eye contact depends on cultural eye context and the nature of the interaction. In China, it's generally expected regardless of time or setting. In Indonesia, appropriateness depends on factors like age, social status, and formality. Number 4 is who. Individual or all background are expected to maintain appropriate eye contact. Thought norms might vary based on age, gender, and social hierarchy. Younger Chinese individual might use eye contact to show respect to elders, while in Indonesia, norms vary based on cultural background and context. Number 5. How. In China, direct eye contact conveys respect, activeness, and sincerity, especially formal setting. In Indonesia, eye contact intensity and duration vary based on cultural context and relationship dynamic, adjusting to social cues.
And now I'm gonna talk about gesture giving compliment. In China, nodding and smiling when giving compliment is common to nod and smile gently. This indicates sincerity and friendliness. With soft tone, compliments are often delivered in a soft and polite tone. Loud or overly enthusiastic expression can be seen as insincere and awkward. What's giving compliment with smiling? Whose people in China giving compliment to other? When someone giving compliment to other? Where? Anywhere they can giving compliment when someone do a good things. How the gesture? Overall, the key in Chinese culture is to be modest, sincere, and respectfully when giving compliment. This approach aligns with the cultural emphasis on humility and harmonious social interaction. But in Indonesia, smiling is the key of giving compliment. In Indonesia, an Indonesian more use their thumb giving a compliment. What? Indonesian giving compliment mostly giving compliment with smile, and some gesture mostly uses their thumb. It's mean good. Whose Indonesian people when they giving compliment to other? Where? Anywhere you can giving compliment when someone do something good. When someone do a good job or get a good grade. How they given In Indonesia, giving compliment is often accompanied by specific gesture and cultural nuances that reflect politeness and respect.
So the third aspect is about kinds and uses of gesture. And now I will tell you about table manner. What is the differences between table manner in Indonesia and also in China? So the differences between both of them is the first one, seating arrangement. In Chinese culture emphasizes strict seating hierarchy, while Indonesian culture is less formal. The second one is eating etiquette. In Chinese, eating etiquette includes specific hand position and gesture, while Indonesian etiquette emphasizes respect for elders and social superiors. The third one is group interaction. Both culture values respect and considerations, but in Chinese etiquette stresses avoiding distracting behaviors, while in Indonesian etiquette emphasizes polite conversation. The next one is cultural context. In Chinese etiquette reflects a blend of tradition and modernity, while in Indonesian etiquette reflects cultural diversity and Islamic influences. The next one is halal practice. In Indonesian, adheres to halal dietary practice due to its predominantly Muslim population, while in Chinese, dining customs are not influenced by halal restriction. The next one is social context. Dining is a social activity in both cultures, but with different cultural norms and tradition. So next, I will tell you about detailed comparison using a specific aspect like what, where, when, who, and how, and table manner in Chinese and Indonesian. So, what? The point what in Indonesian seating arrangement are generally informal. The respect for elders and social hierarchies is maintained through behavior rather than strict seating order. While in Chinese, seating arrangements are highly structured, with the most senior or honored caste seat first. There is a strict order of precedence. So the next one is where. The point where in Indonesian is usually family gatherings, social events, and informal dining situation. And in Chinese, usually same like Indonesian, like family gatherings, formal banquets, business dinner, and traditional celebration. The next one is point when. When in Indonesian, usually during meal or gathering, but particularly in family or communal settings. While in China, during formal dinners, banquets, and traditional celebration. Next point is who. Who in Indonesian is usually family members, friends, and guests, while in China is family members, friends, business associates, and guests. The next point is how. How in Indonesian is guests are seated with a general sense of respect and elders, but without a rigid structure. While in China, guests are seated according to hierarchy, with the most honored or senior guest placed in preeminent positions, often with toast initiated by the guest of honor.
Traditional food, China and Indonesia. Number one is what? Traditional food from China often reflect important aspects of the cultural such as harmony, balance, and healing. Food is often associated with symbols of luck and wealth, such as a feast symboling prosperity. On the other hand, traditional food in Indonesia is often associated with cultural and geographic diversity, with many variations of cuisine from each religion reflecting local culture and available ingredients. Number two is where. In China, traditional food can be found in everyday household, restaurant, night markets, and special occasions such as Chinese New Year celebration. In Indonesia, traditional food can also be found in home-style traditional restaurants and events such as a wedding or Eid. Number 3, when traditional Chinese food is often served at large family events such as a Chinese New Year celebration or the Tagalog Festival. In Indonesia, traditional meal times depend on the type of food. For example, snacks such as fried food can be enjoyed throughout the day, while the main meals are often served at lunch or dinner. Who? In China, cooking traditional food is often the responsibility of the woman in the family. Although in restaurant and formal dining establishments, it can be done by professional chefs. In Indonesia, cooking traditional food is often the responsibility of mother in the household. But in a restaurant, food style it can be done by professional chefs from various backgrounds. Number 5 is how. Traditional Chinese food savoring and preparation method often involve cooking. Techniques such as stir-frying, boiling, steaming. Many food are also served in small pieces to be eaten together. In Indonesia, traditional food is often served in the form of various dishes, such as rice with side dishes, satay or curry with rich flavor, and pieces typical of each religion.
Now I'm gonna talk about differences daily outfit in China and Indonesia. In China, everyday clothing varies widely depending on the region, climate, and context. What's Sipao Changsem, a traditional dress that women may wear to special occasions like sweet traditional Chinese jacket often worn during festival or formal event. Whose people in China wear every day or some event in China. Where in China, rural areas and how rural areas clothing tend to be more practically and suited to agricultural work or local climates. Simple function clothing such as cotton shirt, loose pants, and sturdy shoes. Traditional attire. In some rural or ethnic minority regions, traditional clothing is still worn regularly. But in Indonesia, simple, comfortable clothing such as loose shirt, short, and sarung. A sarung is versatile piece of cloth worn wrapped around the waist. Watch. Business attire batik. Both men and women often wear batik suit or graceful work, especially on Friday or during formal event. And kebaya, women wear this traditional blouse dress combination especially during special occasion and cultural event. Whose Indonesia people daily outfit or some event. Where in Indonesia, rural areas atau areas. When every day and certain day. How they outfit. Rural areas in rural region, clothing is typically more practical and suited to the local environment and lifestyle. Sarung worn by both men and women, often at home or during religious activities. And there is a peci, a traditional cap worn by men, particularly during religious event or ceremony. Thank you.
Okay, I will explain you about other interesting aspect. This aspect tell about giving flowers. In China, the significance of the type and number of flowers, along with the careful arrangement and wrapping, reflects a more formal and symbolic approach. In Sumatera Barat or Indonesia, the gesture of giving flowers is more personal and tied to traditional meanings, with less emphasis on formal symbolism and more on personal expression. Let me analyze this aspect. The first who. In Indonesia, individuals giving flower to friends, family, or significant others. In China, people giving flower to friend, family, colleagues, or partners. Next one. In Indonesia, the act of giving flower as a gesture of appreciation, love, or respect. In China, giving flower as a gesture of respect, love, or celebration. The next, when. In Indonesia, during special occasion such as birthday, wedding, or funeral. In China, on occasion like birthday, weddings, business opening, or funerals. And the next, where. In Indonesia, at homes, event, or place of significance. In China, at homes, events, or place of significance. And the next, why. In Indonesia, to express emotion, condolences, or congratulations. In China, to convey emotion, respect, or good wishes. And the last, how. In Indonesia, flowers are often arranged in traditional style, and specific types may carry particular meaning. In China, the type and number of flowers given are significant, with careful attention to the arrangement and wrapping. That's all.
And then the last aspect I will tell you about other interesting aspect that you can find interesting, and I choose celebrating birthday. So there is a differences between Indonesia and China while they celebrating their birthday. So what is the differences between them? The first one is counting ages. In China, considered a newborn 1 year old, while Indonesian follows the Gregorian calendar. The second one is special birthday. In China, celebrate 60th and 80th birthday with banquets, while Indonesian has a regional tradition like siraman and nambon. The third one is birthday taboos. China has specific taboos around timing and certain age, while Indonesian does not. The fourth one is food tradition. In China has symbolic food and longevity noodles and bread eggs, while Indonesian has tumpeng and siraman. The fifth is gift giving. In China, give low key gifts, often with money, while in Indonesian give tailored gift to close family and friends. Sixth is celebration practice. In China, following the lunar calendar and emphasize tradition, while in Indonesia incorporate Western influence and like theme parties. The seventh is wishing happy birthday. Wishing happy birthday in China uses phrase like Sangri Kuaire, while in Indonesian use Selamat Ulang Tahun. The next one is social and cultural significance. In China, emphasizes longevity and cultural customs, while in Indonesia focuses on social bonds and community belonging. And here's a detailed comparison using specific aspects like what, where, when, who, how to explore birthday celebration in Indonesian and Chinese culture. So, the point what in Indonesian culture is about age counting follows the Gregorian calendar. I'm sorry, my pronunciation is bad. And then similar to Western practice. And then while China, a newborn baby is considered 1 year old at birth, and the child's age increases with each lunar new year. And the next one is point where. In Indonesia, throughout Indonesia, particularly in family and social records, while in China, throughout China, especially in traditional family settings and cultural contexts. The next one is point when. In Indonesia, age is counted from the date of birth based on the Gregorian calendar. While in China, age is initially counted from birth, considering the baby 1 year old, and then increases with each lunar new year. Next one is point who. In Indonesian, family members and official records. In Chinese, family members and cultural tradition. The next point is how. In Indonesian celebration and age references are made according to the Gregorian calendar date of birth, while in China age is referenced according to both the Gregorian calendar and the lunar new year, leading to potentially different ages.
Okay, in the last aspect is about greeting. How the differences between greeting in China and in Indonesia. The differences in China, greetings can range from a nod or bow to gentle handshake, with a verbal greeting being common. In Sumatra Barat or Indonesia, greetings are more expressive, often involving a handshake combined with placing the hand over the heart and using a specific verbal greeting, especially among Muslims. The cultural emphasis in Sumatra Barat is on warm and expressive greetings, reflecting close social bonds. For context, Indonesia and China, there are greetings to individual meeting in social, business, or formal context. In context Indonesia and China, greeting can vary from verbal solution to physical gesture. It is in context of Indonesia, but in China, greeting can range from verbal acknowledgement to specific gesture. And when they are usually doing greetings in Indonesia, upon meeting, parting, or introducing oneself, and they similar like in China. And where there are usually greetings in homes, office, social, gathering, and public space, a public place. It seems like in China. And why they do that? Because to show respect, friendliness, and establish rapport. And how the differences between the both. In Indonesia, greetings often involve a smile, a handshake, or placing the right hand over the heart. The traditional greetings, Assalamualaikum, peace be upon you, is common among Muslims, with the response being Waalaikumsalam, and peace be upon you too is the meaning of the Waalaikumsalam. But in China, greeting typically include a nod or slight bow, especially in a formal setting. Handshakes are common in business context, but they are usually gentle. The verbal greeting is ni hao, or the meaning is hello, is widely used. In some regions, more traditional forms of greetings like clasping hands together and a slight bow are also practiced.